Action.
Hey, they gave R. Kelly 30 years, bro. 30 whole years. I want to know how much time did they mama get? Because, you know, their mama was a full participant in turning over that young coochie.
So let me ask you a question.
What's up?
Like, let's dive into it. I'm gonna interview you.
What's up?
Do you think that was fair? You think they treated R. Kelly or gave him fair treatment by giving him that much time?
Not at all. I think, like, if you go all the way back to 12 play, you know exactly what this man's prerogative is. He doesn't shy away from it. He leans directly into this is highly explicit content. These are the things that I would like to do. These are things I would like to do to you. And lots of women grew up on that music. They loved that music, and they wanted to get to him any way they could. If they wasn't pretty enough, it was like Cinderella. They was trying to get their daughter ready for the R. Kelly ball.
But I think that's the issue. I think the issue is that he was making dirty music with very young girls in mind. And I think that he did this in such a way that he manipulated young impressionable women to have underage sex with him. I mean, that's what I believe to be true too. You know, I do want to dive into this situation. Not to cut you off, I do want to dive into this in depth because, you know, we've had this conversation before, and it does spark a debate. And I want everybody who's watching to understand that we are debating this. We're not doing any type of promotion of anything illicit, perverted, or whatever, but we're having a very good discussion. You know, teenagers have sex. Teenagers have sex or have sexual relations, however you know, I don't know if
that word will get us flagged.
Okay, well, teenagers have relations and can have babies. So obviously teens or people that are under quote unquote age do have sex.
Let's go with some specific communities, right?
Relations.
In the Jewish community, they have a bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah. That's 13. In the Mexican and Spanish community, they have a quinceañera. That's 15. In America, we have the Sweet 16. In the black community and some white communities, they have the Debutante Ball. That's 16 to 18. This is when they're socially acknowledging these people as being young women. I'm coming out as a woman.
Right.
In America, around the world, I think the age of what's the thing called puberty is 8 to 14, 8 to 13 for girls, 9 to 14 for boys. Mm-hmm. So nature tells you that you're an adult, then society tells you you're an adult from 13 to 16, and we pass laws that say, I think that men who are really nasty, they're looking at prepubescent children.
I would agree with that. For sure, and we know what that is.
Yes.
That's definitely criminal. But
it's a sickness.
I also believe that a young lady who is under a certain age is still inappropriate too. You know, I'm very much so unaware of puberty. I'm very much so unaware of, you know, their ability to have sex and even probably knowledge and some conscious, you know, some consent to it to do it. But is it really appropriate at the end of the day? I don't think it is at all. I don't personally think it is. I think that
I am in no way, shape, form, or fashion saying that grown men should be out there picking up teenage girls. I'm not saying that at all. Right. What I am saying is teenage girls are throwing that hot coochie on anyone who will take it. They understand what their power is and they use it. I did not lose my virginity till I was 17, not because I didn't have the option. Ever since I was 12 years old, women up to the age of 17 were trying to put that hot thing on me. And I'm looking at them like, yo, what are you doing? Because there's in heat. That body was growing, their hormones was raging. They like male attention. And we ascribe women as being innocent, and we refuse to acknowledge they are animals too.
I believe that's really true. I think we also have just an over promotion of, you know, illicit perverted behavior all the time. And we do it to younger kids. I mean, we make it appropriate. Like, for instance, man, little kids could be twerking. Little girls could be twerking and people will applaud them versus when I was growing up, man, that was like distasteful. You know, your big mama, somebody might come in and, you know, have an issue with that. But it's like now I think things are just so easily promoted or just ready to consume. And it's really making us a very violent
I like
society.
to tie it into my school experience because at school, without adults, girls wanted to twerk. Girls wanted to be freaky. Girls wanted to go underneath the stairs. Like, that's what they just wanted to do. I was like, yo, like, women turned me out. I didn't turn on no women. Women turned me out.
That's true.
And I'm like, yo, wait, the first time a girl told me, she's like, you want a BJ? I was like 12 years old. I said, what's a BJ?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I would have to say, as a little kid, even into my teens with girls in my age group, they were the ones who influenced or pushed for some type of activity, physical activity. Like, that's really true. I always said this too. We have a misconception on women, even in the dating world, how aggressive women can be. Even when they want to have relations with you, women can be pretty aggressive.
They have crazy sexual appetites.
They do. And I don't think this is something that is typically talked about amongst men until you really get out there and understand it. So I will say that that's very true.
Most men don't even understand it because they ain't got nobody trying to come get them.
That's true.
There's a select few individuals. You have to look a certain type of way, have a type of charisma and swag for a woman to come and try to get some of that thing. In the black manosphere right now, they talk about Pookies and Ray Rays and everything like that. These are a whole bunch of square ass dudes that do not have the ability to pull no woman, and they mad because like Pookie got the confidence to get the booty. Huh? You mad at Pookie because you get the booty?
I mean, and a lot of, not to just down on the manosphere, but a lot of that is in the manosphere. It's just guys who've never had real experience with women or really aren't sought after by any type of woman. So they have this disdain towards women. Just like when I was talking about the Just Hilarious thing, you know, her and the issue she's having, with the community that doesn't understand what's a woman or not. I made this comment really in support of our natural born women, because I believe that natural born women, if you were born a woman, meaning that you have the uterus, you have the vajayjay, you have everything that makes you a woman, you are the most vulnerable creature on earth because you can't help any of this. You cannot, we said it on the show, you can't protect your views. So you truly need protection. I said something in support of this woman because everything she said was true. And this dude got on there and was just like, I'm being goofy. They got it. They could take it from here type stuff. But it's like, bruh, you don't understand the detriment that this is really causing our society with all of these conversations that we're having about sex.
What do you think about men who cape for this transgender stuff? Like men who sit there and try to promote that a man could be a woman. It's like, do you believe in women? Do you believe in biology? Do you believe in your mama? Do you believe in your grandmama? Are you gay? These are the questions that I want to know, because why in the world would you sit there and try to affirm a man who's trying to appropriate another person's identity? Like, if you just want to let your freak flag fly and say, I'm a big old freak, then that's okay. Like, I can't tell nobody what they kinks are supposed to be.
Right.
But when you try to take over my identity, that's nuts.
Brandon Tatum said this on the Candace Owens interview that they had. The promotion of much of this is about sex. And that's true. I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe a lot of the movement is about the type of sex you feel like you should be having freely. And that's what this is all driven behind. I think you can totally be what you want to be. You can act how you want to act, dress how you want to dress, go where you want to go if the law permits it. But you can't force me to see it your way if it goes against what I know to be fact. And you can't tell me that the fact that we all know to be fact is just something we're saying is fact. Like, that's ridiculous.
No one can stop any person from having intimate relationships with whoever they choose to. I think this is more of a social response to the power that women have through victimhood. When a female teacher gets into a relationship with a young man, it's a slap on the wrist. It's just like, bad. But I know a man personally who got 88 years for having a consensual relationship with a 16-year-old person. And I say consensual. Not just the girl consented to the relationship, but her parents also. They were in negotiations for this man to get married, but another family reported this guy, and he got 88 years. 88 years. And I think that girl, like, for the first 3 years, she was planning on still going to see him, but that fell off. But that man got 88 years for being in a relationship that her parents agreed with.
I definitely feel like women have been empowered in the wrong way in our community, in our society, and it's becoming a detriment. They're definitely used, especially Black women, are used to push agendas because women play on the hearts and minds of humanity. I mean, everything that they say, everything that they do affects us in a certain way. I mean, we've talked about it here on the show before, even though you was a crack fiend, mama, you still was a Black queen, mama. Like, we overlook and almost romanticize the era in women as though it's just she don't know any better.
How the hell do you want to have social responsibility, you want to have economic responsibility, but you have zero accountability in the society whatsoever. You can just do whatever. The Me Too movement almost destroyed male culture because you have a woman. Did he forcefully take it? Nope. Did he coerce you to take it? Nope. I just felt like there was pressure because he had power. Like, what? Like, you wanted the job because you knew who he was. And that goes for every person who had the thing happen to them.
I think what's really wild with that, though, is backdating that type of incident. It's like you could come out 30 years and talk about an incident that happened. And since we talking about it, I mean, we talking about Bill, the crazy, this is the disheartening thing about that.
Cosby.
Thing about Bill Cosby is
Professor Huxtable.
I think what A Different World
Dr. Huxtable
did, I think what the Cosby Show did, I think what he did overall as a comedian is amazing. But I definitely do feel like that was definitely or will be a blemish on his career. It kind of ruins everything that he really put together. So I do really understand the question is why.
Black culture is so goddamn messed up that they looked at Bill Cosby. The wife was a lawyer. He was a doctor. And then so we had black people saying that wasn't realistic. How many black lawyers do you know? How many black doctors do you know? How many wonderful black homes do you have? This is some respectability politics show. And I'm like, hey, man, don't you have any standards about yourself? Like, can't you be aspirational? Can't you believe that you can be excellent? This damn nonsense that being black is being a degenerate. It's so crazy.
I mean, but it made an impact because even if you look at today, I think black people as a whole have progressively gone towards more of that. You know what I'm saying? I wonder how many black people are in the position they were when they were growing up. I'm sure we progressed past that. But it is true. I mean, I think that we really were very critical of Bill and overall what he's even had to say about black people.
Jealousy is a motherfucker, you know? And I know Camille, his wife, she knew exactly how freaky Bill was. She knew about his sex parties. She knew that he was getting down. And she stood by her man because she knew that those women that was coming to those sex parties, you knew he was finna get those pills. You knew it. Everybody. Nobody hangs around the guy without knowing how the guy gets down.
Come on, man. I mean, that's really what I'm thinking as well. It's like, how long did he get to do this before anybody heard the word that he was possibly into this? You know what I'm saying? But if you listen to some of the stories, like there's this Playboy documentary out. I forgot what channel, you know what I'm saying, me and my old lady was watching or what app. But there's the woman that kind of talks about, the incidents that happened with Bill Cosby. And the way she explains it is just so vague. Like if you listen to a lot of the women's stories, there's just a vague application of how it happened. You know what I'm saying?
If they're not 100% satisfied with the encounter, then they could just be like, he took it from me. I felt uncomfortable. Right. I felt pressured. I didn't want to do it.
And look, we have to say this because we have to say it, especially for the uberly sensitive people. By no means are we promoting rape of any kind. We can't even say that word. So grape, I've heard somebody say grape. But by no means are we promoting any type of we're not promoting that culture or that behavior at all. But what we're saying is in the case of Bill, in the case of all these cases that we're talking about,
I'm asking you to be honest with yourself because I'm so sick and tired of women just lying. Like every woman who's mad at a 16-year-old girl for throwing that coochie, you threw your coochie. What age did you lose your virginity at? Tell the truth. Tell the truth. How many partners did you have before you was 18? Tell the truth. Tell the truth. And now all of a sudden you see your counterparts or your daughters doing the exact same thing. And you swear to God that some man is a predator. He's taking it from you. Ain't nobody take that thing from you. And for every man who does take it from a person, he needs to go to jail, go to prison for extended periods of time. But let's operate in facts and reality.
Let me ask you this.
What's up?
Do you feel as though prostitution should be legal?
I don't even because once you pass a law, it makes it permissible for people to do these things. As soon as Barack Obama passed the law in 2008, it completely changed our entire culture. It went from being men and women wanting to get married to all of a sudden now you got this whole trans agenda thing going on because you just when they say slippery slope, it sounds silly. Look at our reality right now. You said just hilarious. There are grown men who are arguing with this woman, telling her, I will see you, I will whoop you, woman to woman, when this dude got whole testosterone and whole big hands.
And it's sad, man. It's sickening. And it's funny that you say that. It's like I brought this point up to my cousin. I was like, what are y'all going to do when these men start hitting on y'all? I mean, they already want to compete with you, which is ridiculous. They want to compete in sports. They want to compete in the boxing ring or the fighting ring, which is like wild. And hey, ladies, y'all have yourself to blame because y'all made yourself a minority. But guess what? As a minority, you have to fight for what you believe in, even die for it. And this is something that you're not willing to do. And this was a silly thing for you to even be a part of. You got used. And now look,
they believe in some absolute nonsense. Like the whole entire human experience is about having relationships with two people working together to accomplish a goal, create a family. And all of a sudden, the feminist movement, they push this idea that a woman is separate from a man and that she can have her own ideas her whole entire life. My entire life is dedicated to the woman who's in my life. Everything about my life is determined by the woman I'm with. And all of a sudden, you're sitting there saying that my thoughts and my opinions don't matter when everything about you matters. I have to listen to your thoughts. I have to listen to your ideas. I have to cater to your emotions because I care. Don't you care about me?
That's a great question. Do y'all even care about us? I think this promotion of social elevation, this promotion of I can do what a man can do. I can do anything a man can do. I can make as much money. I should be making, like, if you look at the WNBA, should you really be making more money than LeBron James? Like, are they serious? Do you really think that you're competing at such a level that is any more entertaining than men jumping into the sky and dunking like basketballs that are averaging 6'8"?
Back into the military, my job was aviation ordnance. I had to lift bombs every single day. And so even when I was in my A school, I had a girl who was on the trainer. The bombs range from 500 pounds to 3,000 pounds, okay? And so you got hernia bars. And so since I was a strong man, every exercise, they put this girl next to me. At no point in time can she ever lift her weight ever. And so I'm just sitting there straining and struggling, looking at equality as equality is beating my ass.
Yeah, it's not equal. And a man had to give permission for them to have what they have right now anyway. I mean, the government is essentially protecting you and all the rights that you're given. But another thing that was brought up on the Brandon Tatum and Candace Owens interview is, you know, she almost regretted to say this, but, and I've said something similar, women being able to vote, women being able to be a part of the political process is sometimes an issue because your hearts are played upon. You vote and get behind things that sometimes are at your detriment. Like right now, this issue of the trans issue, it's an issue because what happens when women's rights, real women's rights, are either connected to people that aren't women, or you just don't have it at all. Because I mean, I don't really believe. You know, I've heard different people say, I don't even want to name drop some of these social media people that I just kind of have issues with what they talk about, but womanhood is something very defined. How do you say that anybody can have womanhood? Like, that's ridiculous. That is crazy to me.
It's very rare for you to see a white female politician articulate these sentiments that a woman is simply a person who believes himself to be a woman. It's not them. It's coming from black women. And I don't even know why they feel like they're supposed to promote an idea that doesn't benefit them. The trans ideology does not help humanity in any way. It's the most selfish, most deviant ideology that has ever existed. It's all about me. It's not about society. The most powerful currency in all of humanity is the ability to create life. And once you start to marginalize making babies, then you destroy an entire civilization.
I want to say this too. I think that trans movement is going to be a big chip in the whole LGBT movement. I mean, it may sound very controversial, but I think there was a point to where the movement had some validity in society. Hey, if they like to get married, they can get married. If they like to do
Why
this,
do they want to get married?
I think it was all financial. I mean, if you think about it, when we get together as a husband and wife, we said this, the quickest way to get into the middle class is either join the military or have a marriage. And it was a financial move. It's about money. I mean, and that's what marriage means.
Our government incentivizes behavior. If you get married, you get a tax break. If you buy a house, you get a tax break. If you with your job, if you're married, then they get insurance also. And so it was an economic play because they wanted their romantic partner to get the benefits that they had. They could have handled all this stuff financially without passing legislation to pass gay marriage.
I definitely think that when you legislate things that are of perversion, I'm just gonna say what it is. When you legislate perversion, this is what you get. And at the end of the day, I think it's all about sex when it comes to the entire movement. You know, it may sound, people are gonna call me a bigot. People are gonna say that, you know, I'm hating a group of people. No, I'm not. In fact, I think that you have every right to do. We've talked about this and practice what you want to practice behind closed doors. I don't have any right to discriminate against anyone that wants to live a peaceful life, doing it the way they want to do it. But there is an issue when you legislate things that are not normal to nature. It's just what it is. Like when you legalize things that are not normal to nature, you get what's happening now. And since we started that, which it seemed like it was very benign, now you have this trans issue, which is got everybody in an uproar, if you want to be honest, even with inside that the community. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's got everybody in the uproar because nobody really understands it. And at this point, it's just kind of insanity.
Censorship is worse than slavery. And people get so mad at me comparing things to slavery. Do you know slavery is physical bondage? Censorship is mental bondage. It's emotional bondage. Whenever you have a society of people and they can't articulate their feelings and their emotions in the way that they would like, or what they believe the way that they like, then that's actual suppression. That changes culture. That changes history. Similar to the way having people chained up did.
And that's a good point, man. You know, it's conditioning. We're conditioning society. It's a program. So chains did it. Chains programmed a group of people. The conversation of sex, how we have sex, will condition a whole group of people. That's happening right now. And again, I know this is all very touchy, but it's like we've gotten to a place to where we don't have the very uncomfortable conversation. You said that slippery slope, it will only get even more slippery. And that's what's happened right now. It's like this conversation has really shifted to a very wild and insane place across the board. Like sex as a whole, to me, is just really the because now we're not even just talking about this anymore. We're talking about underage sex. We're talking about underage sexual relationships.
Minor attracted people.
We're talking about, we have all
bonus holes.
We got, oh my God. Like we've got that in the conversation. Like we've never seen this. We have as a society, we have never
America
watched
hasn't seen it, but other societies have seen it.
That's true.
Rome saw it. Greece saw it. Like as soon as you get to a place where you got so much money, so much wealth, then you start to breed perversion because people got idle time and idle minds to just do whatever and to engage in the most wonderful, blissful sexual encounters possible. And they want to legalize their behavior because everyone wants to be accepted by common culture. And all this freaky shit, man, it's freaky because like the things that I do with my partner intimately, like I don't want to talk to everyone about what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I don't want anybody to know what our kinks are. Like I don't want men to know what turns her on. Like why would I try to promote that and propagate that?
I mean, it's what our society is built on, though. I think even just mankind is his sexual nature, and how sometimes it's very often for him not to, or it's very hard for him often to not be able to control it.
Whoa, bro, discipline. Like
yeah, discipline.
That's been a good man. Where are all the good men?
Right.
Where are all
living righteous?
Where are all the faithful women out there? Like none of this happens in our society unless good people stand by and watch this bullshit take place. Right. And you allowed this bullshit to take place. You need to hold yourself accountable, look into the mirror and be like, as long as they ain't hurting nobody, it's okay. Motherfucker, they're destroying an entire society.
But I said this before and I say it again. We left the church, but we were better off there. We were better off staying there because it gave us some sort of moral compass. Most of us, at least. We don't have any type of moral compass right now. None whatsoever. Everything is just kind of like a free-for-all.
That was so much power because men left the church because he was tired of the pastor banging on his wife.
Fact.
She goes, I go to work and she's mad at me because I'm not listening to her. And so she go talk to Pastor Jimmy, and Pastor Jimmy flip her to Jimmy. And she thinks that he's the most kind, compassionate, empathetic person ever. And I'm just some brute. Nah, bitch, I'm paying these bills.
Let me ask you a question.
What's up?
Where do you think trans movement goes from here? Where do you think it takes everything? Because I already made my prediction. I mean, I think that this is going to cause major problems, but where do you feel like it goes from here?
I don't think that it ends in a positive place. And I think it's gotten so far that you have actually strong men who have this ideology. And it's going to be some type of political and social conflict that's going to happen to destroy this movement, or it's going to destroy this nation.
I agree wholeheartedly. I believe that we've gotten to a bump in the road here.
We're going to see trans women beat up. We're going to see trans women beat up real women. And then when we see trans women beat up real women, real men are going to step in and be like, hey, this is not okay. And then all of a sudden, we got chaos and mayhem.
I heard Javon Clark say this, and it's very true. Women, the way to really defend against this is to go natural again. Take the lashes off, take the wig off, let them breast hang. Like, you ain't got to get the BBL. The BBL, you looking like them. I mean, you could just cut that stuff out and be a nat because they cannot duplicate a natural woman.
You know who's the problem is people like Dwight Howard. Big freaky ass dudes who sit here and just want to be nasty.
Now, wait a minute. He said it ain't. He said none of that. Okay, here it is. Do you think Dwight Howard is being honest when he says none of that stuff is true?
Not at all. Man, like anybody who is he came in Christian family, I'm a Christian, promoting Christian ideology. Right. Next thing you know, you got 6 baby mamas. When you have that little bit of self-discipline, you're just a deviant person. You'll do whatever, however, whenever. And that's where he is right now. And men like that are just allowing this perverse culture to destroy us. Like, I like to have a lot of women, and I don't think it's a good idea for me to just fuck every woman that I can fuck. I think that's irresponsible.
I agree. And I talked about the ladies in body count, but I mean, I think the same thing with men in body count. You cannot, to have sex irresponsibly with so many people is detrimental not only to yourself, but to society. It is on so many different levels. It's just not the responsible thing to do. So we do definitely in this country, I think right now, preach a very promiscuous society. Like you have to slut walk and things like that. Like we really push for this highly sexually active community and society.
There are so many people who are in economic bondage that since you cannot express yourself economically or politically, the only outlet that you have is your sexuality. That's your only freedom in America because you're so financially oppressed. You say, hey, look, I can do whatever I want, but you can't do anything you want.
You can't do whatever you want. You know, the other part of this too, I was watching this documentary. I love watching documentaries. Obviously, I know that now. And I heard this gay man talking about how when he was actually, I guess, coming of age into his sexual peak, you know, AIDS came out. Before then, it was men having, you know what I'm saying, relations in subway stations in New York. I mean, it was just pretty much wild and crazy. Even the bathhouses, you know, this is where men were congregating and, you know, having relations again. But that pandemic, the way it passed and just went through and just really went through that community really cut a lot of that illicit behavior out.
A gay man told me that they have meth parties where they just go get a hotel room and be 10, 15 men in there smoking meth, popping booty. You don't ask no questions. There's no permission. If you like what you see, you go do what you want, and everyone's consenting.
Yeah, that's what our boy was caught up in. What's his name? Gilliam, the dude in Florida who ran. Did he run for like governor or something?
Hey, and what I'm saying is, I'm not judging you. Right. Just don't ask me to pass a law for you to do that.
Right. Exactly. And I don't know why that's offensive. I don't know why that's so offensive. I don't like cisgendered either. Like I you know, Amanda Cis was like, this is not a derogatory term, but it's like, you know, again, the Latin word cis on the side of, like, we're not on the side of anything.
You're not going to force me to use your words because I can't force you to use my words. I'm a man. What's up? And I like women. Period.
The greatest American alive. The greatest American alive. The greatest American alive. The greatest American alive. The greatest American alive.